Hey guys! Wow, that's loud as shit. I wanna welcome everyone to this episode of Wrestling with Entrepreneurship, episode something of another. Rebecca will put it down somewhere in a tag or something like that. Today's guest, I think I get this radio thing down. Today's guest is I'm just gonna start giving people like wrestling names. You're gonna be like Big Sexy Kevin, is what it's gonna be, like from Kevin Nash. Kevin, why don't you kind of inform us on who you are and maybe a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. Kevin Lawson. I'm with Fairway Independent Mortgage. I'm a loan originator for residential home loans. So I assist individuals and families in their journey through the acquisition of financing needs for home purchases and or refinances.
What does all that mean for us dumb people that can't follow that?
Yeah, so essentially, let's just say you're renting, you're in an apartment, your situation is, it's looking up and you want to go acquire the dream, the American dream. So you want to bust out into the world. And one of the first things a real estate professional is going to ask you is, are you pre-approved? And essentially what that means is, can you show on paper that you are pre-approved or qualified to obtain financing to go get a home? Okay. And essentially that's where the whole process starts. It's a conversation.
This kind of kickstarts the whole ordeal, right?
It does. And believe it or not, it's harmless. It doesn't cost anything and it's harmless. So one of my jobs is to remove the anxiety and remove the complications, bring it down to the street level where everybody can understand it, and make sure that it's a seamless proposition from start to beginning or start to end.
Okay. I can dig that. Let me ask you this, because like you were talking about seeing if someone's pre-approved and see if you can essentially afford the funds we're finna dump in your pocket type ordeal.
True.
I've had people that that used to work in car dealerships.
Right.
People show up with their fake check stubs and stuff like that. Does that happen?
Right. Believe it or not, so I've been in the industry, a little backdrop, I've been in the industry for 20 years. So I can say without a doubt that I worked with some shady individuals. There were people that were assisting in the fabrication of W-2s and fake pay stubs and bogus bank statements and the whole everything.
Yeah.
I saw people go to jail. It's unfortunate, but that was the cowboy days. And
yeah.
Luckily, it's not impossible, but it's very rare.
Well, I mean, you said what, 20 years? You said experience?
Yes, sir.
I mean, back then, back in the days, it's probably a little harder to keep up with all the stuff now. Now it's all digital. Now it's instant and stuff, right?
There's so many fraud guards. It's actually crazy. So a loan typically makes up 3 different compartments. It's finances, it's compliance, and it's regulatory. There is so much regulation and there's so much watchfulness, so you cannot commit fraud. It's kind of crazy when you do get away with it, but when you do get away with it, believe it or not, it's not one individual, it's an entire team. It's a loan officer, it's an escrow person, it's just a whole bunch of people that are really, really pushing to commit fraud, and believe it or not, they will do it for as little as $50,000.
Really?
It's crazy.
It's like an Ocean 11 scene.
It is, but it's sad. Yeah, it's not glorious.
I mean, it's like karma's a bitch. It's gonna come back and get you no matter what.
It's gonna catch you, and when it does, it's gonna be painful.
I mean, paperwork alone is gonna catch up to you no matter what.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's just not worth it. I tell people all the time I sleep good at night because I do the right thing. I'm not willing to compromise. I'm sure as heck not willing to compromise my license over $20,000 or $30,000. Right. So yeah, it's my livelihood.
One quick lick, and then all of a sudden you don't have a job anymore.
You're in the pokey.
The pokey. What
the big house.
Right. You're doing 10 to what's the fine on that?
The fines actually range from say $5,000 to $10,000 and up, and then it's typically 5 to 10 years. But either way, you lose your license automatically, and then you're done. You can't work in the financial sector. So once you commit a financial crime, you're tainted goods. You can never, you're out. You're not. Yeah, you're out.
No different city, different state. You're just you're on the national.
You're in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kevin doesn't do any of that stuff.
Not even
close.
Not even.
His lick for 50 $30,000 to $50,000 isn't worth his license.
So we have to do continuing education every year, and one of the things that they do is they introduce fraud cases where people have committed fraud, and they kind of use it as a teaching tool on what not to do. But like I said, I find it's mind blowing how little money people will get to commit fraud. It's sad. It's a sad reflection of our society, but it happens. Jeez, it's still happening.
So like these cases that they present to you guys as a learning episode, is that like stuff that happened that year, or could it be?
Yeah, it's typically within the last 5 years. Most of it's within 2 to 3 years, and they typically happen in 2 or 3 states very consistently.
Which
Texas is not one of them.
Texas is not one of them. Go Longhorns or whatever college sport you support.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I mean, we didn't talk about any of that, but I noticed the other day during one of our network meetings that you possibly might have been wearing like an OU sweater vest.
I could have possibly been. So I do have Midwest roots. I was born in Oklahoma City, and I was pretty much raised in Norman, Oklahoma. So yeah, from 5th grade to high school, I guess you could say. So yeah, if there's any Sooner haters out there in the pod land, that's too bad. I get it, but yeah, took off after high school and never looked back, but kept the Sooner roots.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's hilarious on two different levels there, right? Because like for a long time, I don't say it anymore for all my Oklahoma listeners. Hi, Mom. You said Norman, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Back when I was wrestling, back in the days,
right?
I would bill myself from Norman, Oklahoma, just because all I did was wrestle in Texas. So I was like, boom, instant heat, no matter where I go.
Yeah.
And OU stuff and just all that type of garbage.
So it caused an instantaneous little friction.
You almost have to find those little bitty things.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That's good stuff, though. That's cool.
We said Norman, Oklahoma. I just
went right
like
there.
The announcers.
You went right there.
Yeah.
Did you ever travel up there to do that? Did you go to Ardmore or some of the smaller towns outlying Oklahoma to do your stuff back in the day?
My wrestling stuff?
Yeah.
I think the furthest I've ever gone for wrestling was like North Carolina.
Wow, that's a good stretch, man.
That was a hell of a drive and a lot of energy drinks and.
Straight through, both ways.
Yeah, like we went out there straight through. I think we stopped like maybe an hour out from North Carolina.
Yep.
So I would assume South Carolina at that point, maybe. Did our thing. Horrible experience. I don't know if you're familiar with sure you're familiar with wrestling and stuff, but on the independent scene, it can get kind of grungy.
I can see that.
It's not very professional at times.
Right. Yeah.
We went there. I wrestled it. It changed 3 or 4 times before my actual match.
Wow.
Horrible experience.
No, I actually have gotten into lately watching some of the WWE Legends stuff where they talk about a specific individual and their road to success.
Yeah.
And it's mind-blowing. I think any entertainment industry, music, whatever, it's all paved by the same hardcore blood, sweat, and tears. Living in your car, little money. It blew me away. Every time I watch one of these shows or an episode on a wrestler, it's pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And then wrestling especially, it just beats you up mentally, physically. It's a certain lifestyle. I have mad respect for the guys that have made it to the top at what they've done. I don't think people realize, being a country singer, for instance, you got to go write a song, you got to cry, you got to live in a trailer, maybe lose your dog. I think wrestling puts that to shame, dude. So props to you for road dogging it to North Carolina or wherever, and you're probably living in your car, and it was probably crazy, right?
There's been some ups and downs for sure, right? There's been moments where I lived in my car and stuff like that. But I mean, on top of what the description you just gave, in my opinion, is the full description for an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the ups and downs and the not knowing where your next paycheck's coming, and maybe even at point, I'm pretty sure I know some entrepreneurs that live in their cars and take showers at gyms and stuff in between, the whatever shindig they're doing and stuff.
Right. Yeah. I can attest to that.
And maybe that's something that made it easier for me to open my own company or start my own entrepreneurship. Is that they're very similar.
Yeah.
It's very like, you're describing wrestling, but everything you described to me as an entrepreneur too.
Right. Well, I was looking around your office when I got here, and I think something that I gravitated towards right away was a poster that you have, and it's mindset. And I think that has everything to do with what you and I, entrepreneurs or people that want to venture into opening up their own business. It is a mindset, and you have to be ready to face all types of obstacles, all types of uphill battles. Because if you want anything, it's not worth, it's not going to be given to you, number one.
Right.
I try to teach this to my kids and whatnot, but anything worth fighting for, you better, it's going to come.
You're right. I mean, you almost have to, just like in wrestling, from my end of it, like you have to sleep and breathe, and like this never stops for entrepreneurs.
You have to sell out all the way. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean in a good way. You just have to go to bed thinking about your dream. You wake up thinking about your dream and what you need to do to get there. You have to have daily disciplines. And I told somebody recently, bodybuilders don't get into the shape. The physique doesn't happen working out 2 days a week.
Right.
It's a constant grind. There's just watching their diet, for instance, is pretty brutal if you look at that. But you're strapping on a big one doing this, and Yeah, for sure. And like you said, like everything. For some reason, my mind's like clicking on cylinders today. It's like everything that I hear you describe about a different genre to me ties right back into entrepreneurship, right? You're talking about staying on your diet because you don't get that big without staying on your diet. I mean, for an entrepreneur, if you don't focus on your finances and where your money's going, your company doesn't grow. Right.
Everything kind of like, I don't know if it's just one of those days for me, I guess.
It does. Everything ties together. If you're not careful with your P&L, if you're not careful with this, you just have to be mindful. And what I like is being aware, being able to assess your situation. And I remember telling a young person that I worked with a few years ago, and I said, you know what differentiates successful people from not so successful people? And I said, it's being able to take big chunks of information and process it really quickly and then make decisions. That's a huge part of, and I said, I'm no Einstein. I'm not the smartest dude in the shed. Right. I said, far from it. I said, but when you get to a certain stage in life, you're going to be able to take big pieces of information and crunch it, process it, and make big decisions. I said, that'll start separating you from the people that you're around.
Right, for sure. So, like that gives you that, that edge, I guess.
Yeah, mental edge, dude, totally. Yeah, you're right on it.
Because if some people are, and I'm bad about this because sometimes I'll take a lot of information, but I got to digest it. But normally my turnaround for the digestion is a lot quicker than it used to be. Yeah. But like for those that are sitting on information and don't want to make those big moves, someone else is. Yeah, someone else is sprinting while you're jogging.
Yeah. Well, I think something that you and I have done, and we could just chat about it for a second, is we've done the disc test. Yep. And I love the fact I've been out to your shop before to take a visit, so I noticed you had your some of your employees' disc test up, and I thought that was pretty cool because it made me kind of really sit back and realize, like, hey, you care about your people enough to go, hey, dude, look, this is how this person operates. Be mindful of that. This is how this person operates. So I think that's pretty cool that that's a big consideration. So, but disc tests are fascinating as a whole because it not only does it give us insight into how we operate and how we function, it also lets us know how we should interact with other people. Huge.
That's big. It's a big thing. I mean, and I can't say it's always been a big thing for me, right? I'm learning like anyone else,
Absolutely.
Right? Any entrepreneur, anybody really. I mean, you don't have to own your own company or want to. If you're not learning, if you're not growing, you're dying type.
There you go. Absolutely.
I think that's important. The disc assessment is something I guess I'm new to from Linnell. But everything that she's dumped into that and dumped into so for knowledge for me just makes sense. Why would I want to know my people and it's almost to a point where you can identify somebody.
For sure. For
like that short game, you can go, okay, I think you're X. Maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
I think you're X.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's very important. Let's not get past the elephant in the room here, right? You skid by it real quick, but I'm gonna be honest because I'm an honest person. I fucked up because you were supposed to be here like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's...
And, life kicked me in the balls. And I forgot to tell the one person that I was supposed to tell.
It's all good, man. I don't, stuff happens, life happens. And like I told you, I think it's more important that you're out doing, saving your business, saving your clients, whatever. So you were, to me, you're nothing wrong.
And I mean, that's what it's about, right? It's like the end of it is like real shit, like kind of what this podcast is, and maybe it's different from others, is that I'm building a real business. I'm not, I'm not telling you I built something and trying to coach you into something.
No, not at all.
The same thing for you. I mean, you're building a business.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you called 30 minutes ago and go, man, I can't make it, I got to go put out a fire here, I'm not going to bust your, well, I'll bust your balls a little bit, but like, we'll get past it.
Nope, no harm, no foul. That really was not a big deal. Honestly, no big deal.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm just, I appreciate it. And while we're on it, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. So it's not, I'm grateful for this, and I think it's big just to be included.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I want everyone included. I mean, if and I was talking to Linnell today because I have a coaching thing with her today. I want to benefit other people, and to me, this feels like I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Whether it's someone listening or whether it's someone that's on the other end of the table, like if I listen to some stories, or you listen to some stories, maybe you walk away with some tad bit of more knowledge about doing something a different way or something.
Spreading some nuggets out there in the world. Absolutely. Yeah. And we could touch on Linnell as well, as just for those people out there that maybe not considered coaching. How has coaching impacted your life and your business?
I think it's definitely grown my equity, I guess, in my mind.
Right. Yeah.
Is that I want to. I guess I'm trying to figure out how to be a better leader, right? And the only way to do that is sometimes to get help from the outside, which has always been and maybe it's for you too, it's always been a hindering moment for me.
Okay.
When I started this company, when I started doing entrepreneurship, even wrestling, it was like, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it by myself.
Right.
Because I'm a grown-ass man, I can take care of it.
Solo. Kind of not an isolationist, but you're strong enough to go figure it out on your own.
But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Tough. It's tough.
Not even, I mean, in my opinion, not even a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like you need a team, whether that's just a support team or a physical team.
Right.
Do you go to Linnell?
Well, I don't use her per se, but we've had some great one-on-ones, and we do the training in our networking group, and we have a similar background, so I have mad respect for Linnell. And I, like you, I didn't have a coach until much deeper into my career, and because I was always, like you, I was skeptical, honestly. So there was a trust thing, and I was like, I've already achieved huge levels of success, so I don't need a coach. But it wasn't, honestly, until I got a coach where I really liberated myself. I tell my coach all the time, I'm like, dude, thanks for taking the chains off. I was a slave to my environment, and big checks don't always equal success.
Right.
So once I got a coach, it really changed my life. It honestly did. It changed my life at home. It changed my life with my kids, and it changed my life with my business.
Amen.
And I'm forever grateful, dude.
Amen.
So I'm assuming Linnell is offering very similar results. I would expect nothing less. She's an incredible individual, human, coach, mentor, however you want to word it. Yeah. So coaching, I would definitely say, if there's anybody out there that wants to take their business or your entrepreneurial level to the next level, coaching. It's huge. Yeah.
And no matter who it's with, right? Whether
Absolutely.
It's with your guy, with Linnell, whoever it might be.
Absolutely.
I think it's that, like you said, that person is they're not in the foxhole with you, right?
Yeah.
So they're able to guide you out of the foxhole. They're the sniper, I guess.
Yeah.
Go to the left. Go to the left.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and I think once and it took me a couple of people before I landed with the person that I use now. So for those of you out there in the podcast world that are listening, if you do decide to go get a coach, if the first one doesn't work, don't give up. That doesn't mean that coaching is a bad thing.
Right.
It just means that you and that person didn't gel. You didn't line up. It means, okay, put that one aside, go get another one.
Yeah.
Try somebody else.
I mean, it's like
it's like dating. You gotta for a lack of better term. Sorry, folks out there, but that's kind of, you got to find a dance partner in life.
Yeah.
So they're there to help you.
You went to dating.
I went there.
I don't know. I mean, you've surely been married as long as I have, not longer. I was thinking sneakers. I was
22 years.
Yeah, if you don't like Nike, go to Reebok.
There you go. Yeah.
You probably got to blur the 2 brand names I just said or something like that.
Yeah. Ruh-roh.
We're looking for a sponsorship. Anyway, no, I mean, like that's a good topic just to even sit on right there, right? It's like I can't tell you how many times that in coaching she's helped me get out of my own damn way in order to make leaps for the company and stuff.
Absolutely, can identify, and I think that's what they do is and I use the word liberate because for me, I had to undo myself.
Yeah.
I was my own worst enemy in a big way. When I came into my coach, or he came into my life, I was in a dark spot. I was in a really big funk, and I was my own worst enemy. I woke up in a funk because I was critical of myself, and there's other things. But regardless of where you're at, if you're in a good mindset, it'll be probably much easier. But either way, they're going to help you get some results that you probably didn't think you could achieve.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, and so just speaking from my instance, right? As Linnell's given me like tools and things to kind of like build on it, like you said. Not just business, but personal and stuff like that too, right? I mean, that's some of these things I would never had.
Right.
I wouldn't even known where to look for to get these things, whether it's books or audio stuff to listen to, or just like assessments that she makes me take fucking stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of even though our industries don't overlap at all, I think a lot of what you and I do is all about processes, especially when you're in the field. If you're not following a really strict, regimented process, somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to urgent care. In the worst case scenario, you're going to a funeral. Nobody wants that. In my process, at the end of the day, if I don't follow my regimen, somebody's not going to get a home loan at the very end. I'm going to create a bunch of unhappy people, if not enemies. But with coaching, it's a process. It's really identifying what you want or who you are, and then what you want, and then setting up a plan to get there.
I think that's key right there, right? Is finding who you are first.
Yes.
Because you could be working someone else's plan that's not yours.
Absolutely. Amen. I had to do it a couple of times, and one of the hardest things I ever had to do was my coach drilled into me, "Who are you?" And it's I have to change it sometimes more than once a year because we're always changing, we're always evolving. So when he tells me that drill's coming up to re-identify, who are you now? I always resist. Like, I don't like to be told what to do by nature.
Amen.
That's me. I'm a porcupine. I'm curious. I'm like an otter. I can be playful, but at the core, I'm very resistant to certain things. So I don't like to be told what to do. So when my coach is like, "Hey, guess what we're going to do?" And I'm like, "Oh boy, here we go."
I'm busy that day.
Exactly. We're going to have to end the call early today. See ya. No.
I got to mow the snow. I can't make that one. He said a porcupine and an otter, the tallest fucking otter I know. Man, so we were talking about that. I mean, you're almost, I guess, occasionally, whenever your coach decides he does it, you're not like reinventing yourself. You're just adding more layers to you.
I think, like I said, everybody's always kind of evolving and changing. And at any given time, you look through a lens and look at ourselves. We're going to be a little bit different than we were, say, 6 months ago.
Sure.
So I think, I think what was big for me is, identifying my purpose. What was my purpose, and what was I sent here to do, ultimately. So identifying what your purpose is, who are you, it makes it easier for you to go out and accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish. So that was a big thing for me.
How do you feel like with I guess scenarios, or it might not affect your genre, your career, right?
Right.
Is like telling people like the hard information that they don't want to know, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes you probably have to drop the hammer down on people.
Dude, that's a great, I'm so glad we're talking about this. So just to kind of tap the brakes and back up, my purpose, I identified through coaching, and coaching I started coaching Little League Baseball a long time ago. And through that, I kind of found out a big portion of my life is I'm an encourager. I am a coach myself, just in a different way. But when I'm working with people, and I do pull up a credit report and just say it's blown up. Let's just say it's like a 520 and it's just a disaster. There's
just putting my credit limit up there, or my Jesus.
I'm not identifying you specifically. However, so if I do, if that does happen and I'm working with somebody, one of the first things I do is let them know, hey, you know what? It's not the end of the world. You're not the only person to have been in this situation. Right. I've been there, and many other people have been there before you. Here's the good news is, you know what? And this may sound corny, but I tell people, there's a reason why the windshield's bigger than the rear view mirror. I was like, we're not living in the past. You can take a glance, but we're not living there. I will not allow you to get stuck in what happened previously. Right. We're going to build a plan out, and we're going to get you. So you can't buy a home today, okay? That's just a fact. We cannot do a home loan today. However, what we can do is put a plan in place. I've been doing this for a long time, so I know how to do credit repair, and I know how to get people into a position to buy a home. Okay. And one of my jobs, honestly, is I'm an encourager. I'm enthusiastic. I love getting people fired up and seeing the good in everything. I'm an optimist by nature. There's a whole lot to be pessimistic about in the world, but by nature, I'm like, no, let's go, dude. There's a wall, there's a hill. Let's go through the wall. Let's get up the hill, and let's put it on fire while we're going all the way up there. It looks dire. I'm easily a pivot to cheerleader mode, coach mode, enthusiastic. Like, hey, look, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and this is how we're going to get you there. So I do not allow any time to sit around and we're not having any pity parties on the Lawson team, dude. We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get it done. My only question to the person is, are you committed? Yeah. Because I've had people that have had dire situations turn their entire world around, and in 2 months we were making an offer on a home. Other people, it takes them a year. It all depends on people's financial situation, where they are. So, just understand that what I just said that one person can do in 2 months doesn't mean everybody can do that, because it all depends on your situation. And ultimately my goal is to get them there, but it's comfortable. I don't want them eating rice and beans, living in a car to try to save up. So
that makes sense.
Great question though, great topic, because I think people have a big apprehension to just have a conversation with me. That's what I find. So,
you almost hold, in certain people's mind frame, right? You almost hold their key to their world at that point.
Their livelihood. I don't look at it that way, but I can see where you're coming from. I'm actually, the way I look at it is everybody's on a journey. Mm-hmm. And I always liken myself to what I'm doing is I'm a Sherpa, I'm a quarterback, I'm a pilot, whatever. But I'm meeting people where they are in their life, and I get to come beside them, and I get this great opportunity, and I'm very grateful to walk with people through the journey of pretty much buying the biggest purchase most of them are going to buy. Yep. Every once in a while, there's somebody out there that has a collector car, and it's worth more than their house, but that's pretty rare. Most folks are their house is their. And it's not just a house, it's a home. It's where the biggest memories and the best memories are built, and or that's what you hope and pray for, you know what I mean? So I take what I do very seriously, and I'm very grateful. I'm blessed to get to go do what I do. It's awesome.
And that's to me, that's key, right? Not only for the fact that you're walking them through that process, or you're guiding them, as you said, right? Or even coaching them, is that you want to be a part of that, right?
Absolutely. It's not transaction. So, by the way, just throwing this out there. What I do is not transactional by any way, shape, or form. I want to be somebody's, I want to be their family guy. I want to be their go-to for all of the family, not just one person. I want them to have such an amazing experience that they introduce me to Bob or Janet or whoever, the aunt, the uncle, the cousin, so that's important to me.
So you're painting that picture of And you're doing it genuinely. It's not it's not for facade for you, right? It's not
you just used one of my favorite words. Authenticity and genuineness are lacking in this world, and I think there's a bunch of posers and a bunch of we live in a fake society, unfortunately, and I don't have any room for that in my life. Okay. So you get what you see is what you get. I may not be the best looking dude in the room or the smartest dude in the room, but I'll go toe to toe with anybody at any time, anywhere. Let's go. Authenticity and genuineness they're going to be dripping.
And you're right that there is a massive lack of that, and like I don't know if that's a moral situation or well, for sure I think it is a moral situation.
It is. Like, don't even lie, dude. You know it is.
Yeah, the world is fucked up. And
we're morally bankrupt as a society. We are as a society failing in a lot of ways, but people like you, dude, I've always been impressed from your story from the get-go. So people like yourself and myself can make a difference, and I think that's what we go do. We go be the light in an otherwise dark world, and we can impact lives. We can impact lives,
and
so let's go.
It's one person at a time, right?
Absolutely.
It's one chapter, one job, as I tell my guys. It's one project at a time. Like that's all. One
house, exactly. For you guys, like you're typically working on a house, right?
Yeah.
Or a commercial. Yeah, one house, one building at a time. Why not?
And it's the same thing you were talking about a minute ago. Is that like, if we do well here, they'll tell Jim, Janet, and so on and so on.
Absolutely. Because you and I, we're beholden to our word, and results speak for themselves, right? So it behooves us to go knock it out of the park, exceed expectations, because that's how our business is derived. It's typically, it's word of mouth, it's referral, it's stuff like that. I don't know about you. I don't spend a ton of money on marketing or stuff like that. I'm old school. I want to meet people. I want to engage. I love doing what we're doing right now, but honestly, this is new to me, but I'm stoked to be here because it's something we got to do. I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. I'm not a big TV dude. I don't want to be on TV, but I realize the power of what we're doing right now, so it's exciting.
Absolutely, and it's just because you're not, I guess, old. I mean, I'm old schoolish too, right? I still can't figure out half the shit on my computer,
right?
But like sometimes it's that extra element of differentness that this can mean the world to somebody, or it could blow you up to the next section. Not that that's what you're looking for, but I mean, it's a possibility.
I think I hate, this is cheesy, but how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time, you know? So it sounds stupid, it sounds corny, it sounds cheesy. However, you just can't give up. You just got to keep going. Absolutely. And I think you and I have that grind in us. And that's what my family life, my home life as a kid was not roses by any means. But if anything, it taught me perseverance. I wouldn't change a thing. You know what I mean? And I've heard your story too. And it's, we both had some bumps or turbulence. Or, you know what I mean? Sure. We've had some fires. And I think a lot of the times that I didn't always make the best choices. I've made some really piss poor choices in my life, and I've probably wasted a lot of money and talents, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It made me who I am.
Right, like you said, that's another layer to you. That's every piss poor decision and outcome is you either break from it or you build from it. Right?
Strengthens you or it breaks you, and then you learn from it.
It's all learning.
Yeah, exactly. It's what you extract from it. I guess that's why I'm such a optimist. And no matter what situation we're going through, there's got to be something good to pull from it, no matter what.
I mean, speaking like pulling good stuff from stuff, like don't make it confusing shit. We lost a reception about 4 or 5 minutes ago. Completely shot this. I hope she doesn't edit this out at all. It's on me. My breaker plug thing stopped working. Whatever excuse I need to put on
GFC.
It's 100%.
Is that a thing? A GFC?
A GFCI?
Yeah, there we go.
You're just leaving out the letters.
Dude. I'm just all jacked up. You can tell who's not the electrician, who's not the power guy.
Powering the possibilities.
There we go.
I added some shit to that. I did it on out of nowhere. I think I was with Rebecca at one of the network meetings, and we light it up so you don't light your ass up or something like that.
Like,
and everyone laughed. So I was all like,
dude, you do have the perfect occupation for endless taglines.
I mean, you've been putting electric chair on
the electric chair. I mean, that's just classic. Nobody can surpass that. And then you could they're just endless. I guarantee you could probably sit here for 30 minutes and come up with 10 ridiculously amazing taglines. They would just probably come to mind.
It's gotta be the same thing for lenders.
Not really, because I don't know. I mean, maybe.
We'll waste 10 minutes later after, and we'll whiteboard the shit out of it. We're coming up with a slogan. Well, let me ask you this, man, because Kevin, like when I first saw you at the network meeting, right? First of all, it's fucking hard not to look at you. I mean, at least fucking 10'2".
Oh my gosh!
At least 10'2", guys. Anybody listening? El Gigante.
That's generous, by the way. I'm not Shaquille O'Neal.
I mean, you might be the next Shaquille O'Neal.
That's funny.
I only ask this because you know what, I ask a lot of people this, and maybe it's to kind of see how they think about me in turn. But you were like, even on day one, you were like outspoken and like very like you said. I mean, you want to coach people, you want to help people.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are like that. I'm one of the people that are not like that. I'm very. If this is rare, I guess maybe because I feel like I'm in my own office and I'm allowed to be me.
Yeah.
But I'm an introvert. Like almost
to the
70% of me is introvert.
Yeah. I'm just comfortable in my skin. I think we touched on genuineness and authentic.
Yeah.
So I can't fake. I can suppress. My most recent disc test, showed that I can suppress some of my natural abilities, which was kind of weird, but it kind of depends on the setting. But going to a networking group, you can't be a wallflower and expect results. You've got to shine. You've got to put a foot forward, and hopefully you're not putting your foot in your mouth, but yeah, put a foot forward.
I would say I put my foot in my mouth many times at the network meeting.
Hey, dude, one of my first meetings there was you doing your presentation, and I think I told you either that meeting or the one, I appreciated your authenticity and your vulnerability because you did kind of what my coach really impressed upon me, and that's when I do a presentation for the first time especially, is let people know who I am and why I do. More importantly, not what I do, but why I do what I do.
Correct.
And so you did that, and I just didn't see that coming. So when you did it, and I could tell that probably wasn't the most comfortable thing for you to do, and I could tell that, I was impressed, dude. I think with anybody stepping out of their comfort zone, being vulnerable, no matter who you are, if you're being vulnerable, and you're like opening up behind the curtains for people to take a peek, that's huge. And I wanted you to know, I appreciated that.
I appreciate it. And you told me that day too.
Yeah.
But that's just like, that shows I'm a fucking human, right? Just like anyone else. We're all in the same.
We all have a story.
We're all breathing and pissing and everything else, right?
Yeah. Well, and most of us have been through some, and I don't use this word to sensationalize it, but trauma. So most of us have been through some crap, and it comes with baggage or whatever, and so your story was impactful, and I just, like I said, I loved what your message was all about, and I loved that you shared with us your wrestling, chapter, and I thought it was freaking fantastic, because I didn't really grow up watching wrestling. I was always aware of it, but it wasn't until later in life. When I lived on the West Coast, I had a buddy from Detroit, and that was his thing. Every Monday night, we were having beers, watching wrestling, and I fell in love with Stone Cold. So don't hate me, but I just gravitated towards Stone Cold, and I knew who all the other dudes was, but I was like, wow, I like that dude's personality. And so you're probably like, dude, you're fired, but at any rate...
me?
Yeah.
Stone Cold's badass. What are you talking about?
Dude, Stone Cold's badass. And at any rate, so I think when you can show a subject or a topic or a hobby or something that you can relate to, that was that was part of your life, was wrestling, dude. You shared something that you were very passionate about, and you're probably still very passionate about it. Just because you're not flying from the top turnbuckle doesn't mean you're still not passionate about it. So,
I tried that about 6 months ago, and I'm still trying to walk the
I would just be right at the urgent care.
That's kind of where I was.
Just get the stretcher. And
So you want to go get some food? I'm gonna go to the doctor, man.
Yeah,
I'm just not,
I'm just gonna go check myself in.
I mean, have you? And that's something that's important. I think for anyone listening, is these networking meetings. Obviously, they're important, right? Or just any type of like networking in general, whether it's brick and mortar building that you're meeting at, or it's just online or whatever it is. It's all important, but like I talked about this on an episode not too long ago with Pedro. Is when I heard networking, all I thought was, well, here's my business card,
right?
And like I didn't want that, and like that's probably how all my showcases will always be. It's just like it's not hard to know what I do. I'm an electrician. If you want to know more about it, come talk to me.
Talk to me and give me a call.
If not, if you're giving me 15 minutes to showcase, I'm gonna talk about my 19, 20 years in wrestling. I'm gonna talk about my family. I'm gonna, like you said, that vulnerability.
I think that's important.
You gotta open up
for people to know who you are, and to specifically talk about that networking group. That 10 minutes goes by so quick, and we only get to do it, every so often. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I think you're giving more people a glimpse into you. That's huge, dude. I think.
And I think you like most people are. Like the first time I did it, awkward. Technology, the computer didn't work that day, so I'm like doing Q&As off of nothing and stuff, which is something I didn't plan for. Which is almost it makes sense for me because like we sent you an email. We're very professional here at Wrestling with Entrepreneurship about today's date, and you were asking any topics and stuff. And I don't know if anyone ever got back to you or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. She did. Yeah.
She gave me the log.
Dude, when I got your email, honestly, I was like, oh crap, what am I doing? I was like, what are we going to talk about? Do I need to bring a binder with topics? And I honestly was like, I guess I just wanted to be prepared.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I don't know what information she gave you. I mean, she's giving me the login to that email. I've yet to log into it. Eventually, maybe one day.
Oh, you'll go take a peek at it.
But I'm sure she told you, as I've told everyone, and even with conversations that I've had with her about like direction and stuff, is that I think the on the edge type conversations, stuff that just comes naturally. That's the point. Because like I can give you 1,000 subjects, but like that's every time we veer off into something that might be critical conversation or a story that you want to deliver that someone out here is listening, or even me, and go, holy shit, I can relate to that, man. I understand that. We lose that authenticity.
There you go. There's that word. It's creeping in.
We lose it
as long as it doesn't go too far.
Authentic.
Authenticity.
I didn't even say the word right that time. Authenticity is what I said.
We're creating new vocabulary here, people. We're on the cusp. We're on the cutting edge of blowing stuff up.
We're screw you, Wikipedia. We're coming for you.
Nice.
Well, I mean, like we've talked about
bounced around, haven't we?
All over the place.
Absolutely. Tell us about. Okay, so I know wrestling is one of your passions besides your family. Let's talk about another passion. What is it besides wrestling and family? Give us one more.
Another passion?
Are you into fishing? Do you like football? Are you into anything else? Do you like golf?
Weird thing is I don't typically watch football.
Okay. That is weird.
I watch
from
the
Texas.
Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'll catch a game here and there.
Okay.
But it's not like I'm not a diehard.
Okay. You like PBR? I mean, you into the rodeo circuit?
What the hell's PBR? Oh,
it's not beer.
Oh, I thought it was okay. I was like, no, I don't drink, man. I don't know what you're.
I don't drink either.
What are you offering? Man,
because you got to be kind of like so I'm just going to take a really wild guess. You have to be a semi-adrenaline junkie to be into wrestling because it's hardcore, dude. There's nothing chill about it, from the character that you take on to the physical attributes and all of the the athleticism that goes into it, dude. It's hardcore. So were you into water skiing growing up? Did you like climb mountains? Did you do motocross? Like what else did you get? What did you do to feed the adrenaline junkie need?
You were painting a very giant mountain that I had to climb here. No, I mean, realistically, if we're breaking it down, I did nothing. Like I didn't, I played football when I was younger, and it sucked.
Okay.
So I said,
Yeah,
nope.
It's black and white. You
Yeah.
either love it or it's death.
I tried T-ball.
Okay.
That didn't work out for
Okay.
me. The only thing that kind of stuck for me is when I wrestled in high school on like the collegiate
Wow.
style.
So you were a late bloomer.
Yeah.
You didn't start wrestling until high school?
Yeah.
And you went on to
I think I'm
wrestling
more of a
in college?
I'm
That's
just
huge.
an entertainer, man.
Okay.
That's kind of like
yeah. But is that your gas? Like, does that do it for you?
entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like that's why when like Rebecca comes up with these bizarre things that she wants to do for
Right.
like, reels, I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah,
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Don't even hesitate.
What are we gonna do? I don't fucking know. Let's just fucking
cool.
do it.
That's cool. So were you said something before we engaged, and I was just curious because I didn't know if you were serious, but you said something about stand up. So is stand up something you've actually done?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's sucked ass.
Yeah, but you had the cojones to go up on a stage in front of strangers and bust out jokes, or you know, you're doing something to create laughter and a great feeling, and people are lacking in laughter. Mm-hmm. So, dude, once again, props to you for having dude. There's not enough money, number one, to get me to do karaoke or go do comedian stuff. There's just that's not happening.
It was it sucked no matter what, right? It was Thursday nights.
Okay, stand up,
and you know you got to get there at 11 p.m.
Okay,
and that's after like the real act went on.
Okay, so you follow up the main people.
But like there was a gap, right? Like they'd have a show from like 8 to 10,
right?
And then sometimes those people would stick around,
right?
9 times out of 10 they wouldn't.
Yeah, they're on their bus and splitting.
Yeah, and then like or even like the audience members. Sometimes maybe they'd hang around and have another beer.
A couple people that have had too many beers, so they're going to stay stationary.
And you're like, there'd be 20 of us.
Okay.
And
how long do they give you? 5 minute set, 6. Like,
5. Yeah, I would say 5 to 8 minutes or so, give or take 10 minutes, something like that.
And is this something you would just totally have practice? Like you'd have white, like little cards and study and do all that, memorize it, or did you just go out there and just wing it?
That for some reason I couldn't wing it. I think I think it would have been better if I winged it.
Okay.
I think if I would have told a story like a lot of comedians do, that I would have been better at that. But like I had this act that I had, rehearsed 1,000 times in front of a mirror. Mostly about not having a dad growing up, type of, the basic comedic stuff. But it just. Like
props to you though. So is this something are you going to try it again, or was it a one and done thing, or are you going to go back up there?
One and done thing. The closest thing I think I get to comedic stuff is if like I could do it here. I'm lazy at heart. Okay. So if I could do it here, maybe this desk will be sturdy enough. I'll put some blocks behind it, and I'll put a mic stand here and just YouTube it to everyone.
Do your best thing right here. From the podcast.
That's it, man. That's it.
That's awesome.
I think I did it for a little bit, like maybe 5 or 6 months. Okay. But I was like hanging around people that I didn't like. I brought a buddy from wrestling to kind of do it with me one time. Okay. But he was getting invested too much into it, and I was like, man, I'm still wrestling on Saturday, and I don't really.
Yeah. It was just kind of a side gig for you. Yeah.
He kind of like he took.
And he went all in.
He did, but then. Like most people, even like entrepreneurs, will flake out.
Dude, that's a tough. I mean, man, talk about a tough road. Yeah. Most of those top comedians are, like Ron White. Yeah. Dude, nobody knew who Ron White was, in '86. It wasn't until 15, 20 years later he gets a big break with a movie, and then of course he blows up.
And that's a thing. So. That's a thing that's missed out on everything. Like you said, like the comedian people, right? Like by the time a group of us have seen them, they've probably been doing it for 10, 15 years.
Forever.
Same thing with wrestling.
Yeah.
There's probably guys, and I know guys that have wrestled for 20 years or 15 years, and then they finally got that big break and stuff.
That's interesting. I just watched a thing on The Undertaker, and I didn't realize how long he'd been wrestling before he made it. It blew me away, and I was like, and he's a big dude, 6'8" or something, and the bigger you are, the harder your body just takes a beating. And,
for sure.
And that poor guy, by the time he made it, I think he'd been wrestling 10 or 15 years. Yeah. It was pretty incredible.
And then put on another 30 years after that.
Yeah. And then the lifestyle that wrestlers live, it just, I don't think most people realize how brutal that is.
And that's it's nonstop, depending on who you are.
How do you have a family? Those guys that they're divorced. I'm like,
hard.
no kidding. It's because they live on the road.
Yeah, it's hard.
They're in the gym, they're practicing during the day and in the gym, and then they go do their thing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever their nights are, and it doesn't leave much margin for a quality life. So,
and you're right, because it's an all or nothing type mentality.
Totally. Yeah, that's the one thing I took away from Stone Cold Steve Austin's his biography was his family took a beating. He wasn't there. He was an absent dad, and the fact that he's trying to make up that ground, I have a lot of respect for that, because he basically put his family on the shelf to go get it, and he got it. He succeeded like most people could never imagine, however, at the cost of. And so I think that's where you and I, as entrepreneurs, business owners, what have you, we got to go be road dogs and do our thing, but we're not putting our families on the back burner to go achieve success.
Right, but it's hard to too. Like you said, it still exists within entrepreneurship. Like I'm learning how to do it now. The only difference, like from this and wrestling, is that like, I'm not halfway across the the world and stuff. I'm generally in the same city as my family is. I get to go home to see them.
Mine's pretty, you'll laugh at, to the extent of mine, I'll be at the mall with my family or something, and I'll get a new client referral, and if I get a referral, I'm on it right then. I'm like, just tell my family, hey, I'm stepping away, I'm going to call somebody, and I'll make a phone call, and I'm on the phone for 10 or 15 minutes and just address that and just say, hey, can we further the discussion for you? If you're out to dinner, it's probably pretty rare you're dropping dinner and going to fix an emergency. However, you might be calling one of your guys like, hey dude, we got a situation, can you help me out?
And like that's something that I've learned recently, probably in less than the last maybe 6 or 8 months, is that like I have a new phone, right? The phone number that's tied to the company is no longer with me, just because I couldn't separate.
That's huge. By the way,
it's hard.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's like cutting an umbilical cord in a way, because you're stepping away. You're like, hey, I'm going to let the business take care of itself, and or delegate. So, like, speaking of that, are you in a position now where you have guys rotate, taking, like, are you guys 24 hours a day? Do you take on-call emergencies, stuff like that?
Right now, no. I mean, like right now, I try to, and it could change, right? I try to like base myself off of like letting my guys have weekends for whatever they want to do, family, friends, whatever. And like we try to shoot for like an 8 to 4:30, 8 to 5 type ordeal. It doesn't always work out that way, but like, I mean, life is life. But I try to invest in them and respect their time enough to that, like, when they're here, right? So maybe we can get enough stuff done or more stuff done in that 8 to 5 than your average electric company.
Extracting the best possible from your guys within this window, and giving them a quality of life.
For sure. And who knows, at this point, years from now, maybe some guys like Monday, Tuesday off, so then we're working the weekends, and maybe some guys are like, I'm a night owl. Maybe 24 hours type thing. There's no telling where it can go.
I think as long as your mind is open to it, I think the opportunities are out there.
For sure.
I think you got to find the right people in the situation that presents itself. But I think you open those doors, you got to look out. It's going to happen.
It'll come knocking.
It's good. As soon as you say, "Oh, we're open for emergency situations," here's the hotline. Look out, look out.
What's weird? Not to backtrack a little bit. You were talking about like Stone Cold and stuff, right? How he put his family on the back burner, if you will. That's big that you say that, because for me, I through wrestling for 20 years, right? Multiple shitstorm of relationships. I have a failed marriage through it. But like when I got with my current wife now, she had kids and we had a daughter. I have 2 sons and a daughter. Like that mentality of wanting to put something on the back burner went away really quick.
That whole thing just went to the back.
While it was a big, half of my life and stuff, if not more, it was not as important as my sons and my daughter and my wife, my family and stuff.
That's huge for you to come out and say that. That's to me, that's like your purpose is right in front of you, and you're saying, okay, this is more important to me than this, and then that's huge.
I always say that
because your wife is she's your life partner and best friend. She's all these things, and then she was important enough to make you realize, like, hey, dude, you know what? I'm gonna make some changes, and I'm gonna go this way. And I'm still blown away when you've said it now twice in our conversation that you did it for 20 years, and dude, you're so young to me. You're like, I don't know. I just like, damn, dude, did you start road dogging the wrestling lifestyle at 15? Did you drop out of high school? Or?
19.
Okay, so I'm like, dang, dude. So, because I envision you having been in your entrepreneurial, your electric chair side. I just envision you have done it for like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean,
so
we're 5 years in.
5 years
point.
deep? Okay, but you did electrician work prior to that.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't you do it back in another chapter too?
Yeah, I mean, as an electrician, I mean, I've been in the trade for 13 years.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I have a little bit of time in.
Right. No, you got a lot of bit of time in, dude. A little bit of time is a couple of years. But
it's weird that, like, I mean, you're saying that, and like, it's not the first time I've heard it, and not just from, like, I've heard it from you, and I appreciate it. Right, kind words are wonderful for everyone.
Absolutely.
But I've heard other people when I go, I'm only this old, and I've only been doing it this long. And like some people go, holy shit, I figure you've been doing this your entire life. I figure you were 10, 15 years in at this point, which I still don't see it, but I mean, respect is respect.
Yeah, no, dude, I think it's huge what you've done. I think you deserve a lot of props. I think you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to be wildly successful. I think the only limitations in both of our careers is ourselves.
Yeah.
I think we can achieve some great heights, probably greater than what we think we can.
Yeah.
I
think sky's the limit type of deal. Same for you.
Yeah, and I think regardless of what's going on out in the outside world, there's enough doom and gloom, but I think there's enough out there for you and I to go, to the next level, no matter what's going on.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just got to keep the old saying, right? Keep your head down and keep
your
moving.
Head down. Yeah. Focus on, make the main thing the main thing. Yeah.
And you just gotta, my opinion, right, is you have to take, it goes back, every customer one at a time, one project, but it's one day at a time. It's one minute, 1 hour type ordeal, right?
Right.
You just gotta, you can have a shitty hour, but it doesn't need to be a shitty day.
Yeah, don't let it bleed into the whole day, dude. Yeah, don't let it take over the day or the next, whatever, the future.
And that's important, and I think you have that same mentality of like, all right, I had a bad 2 hours there. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, use an analogy. My son played in a football game last year. He kind of crapped the bed on a few plays and watched the coach come over and have a little chit chat with him, and it was very animated. Son got he got held out for one play, then they put him back in and he checked back in, but everybody brain farts, man. Everybody craps in bed. It's how we respond. Adversity is going to punch us all in the mouth. It's how we get up and we respond and go forward, because laying around having a pity party, that's not allowed, or at least not in my household, probably not yours either, dude. We're not doing that.
It just doesn't, there's no positive movement on it.
There's no benefit. Who's that benefiting, man? Yeah. Here's your tissue, blow your nose, now let's go.
I mean, I guess I say this not to be like devil's advocate thing, but I guess the pity party thing, which I don't agree with, maybe people do it because like, well, I just want to hear nice things about me. Well, fucking do other things and you'll get nicer words about you.
Yeah, this might infringe on some people's feelings, but victimhood is just not some, you know what I mean? Just can't be a victim. Right, yeah, so you can't just live life like that. You got to go do something, man. We have great opportunities in the United States of America, probably more than any other country in the world. And if you want something, it's there. It doesn't need to be given to you. Go get it, man. Go get it. We've all got the same opportunity.
For sure.
So,
and like,
you and I are a reflection of that, by the way.
And I think so too. I mean, like, absolutely. You've done 20 plus years at this. At being a lender, and you've started your own firm, I guess. Is it what it is? Is it a business? How does it?
Not really. I mean, I'm under a big umbrella.
Okay.
So I have my own team, but
So it's your own thing. So I mean, like, it took you time and stress and grit and everything to get to that point.
A lot of dedication.
I think there's a lot of opportunity for that now.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, my personal opinion is that, like, there's a lack of that grit and want that eventually this shit's gonna run out, and if we don't take advantage of it now,
lack of hard work, dedication, grind.
We have to change our mindset on stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree 100%. Absolutely. And I didn't, I'm very unconventional as far as my path. I didn't go to college. I'm the only one in my family that didn't go to OU. I have a chip on my shoulder. We won't get into that, but I thank the good Lord for that chip because it fuels me. When somebody tells me, or somebody told me, I should say a long time ago, I couldn't do something, and I was like, oh, here we go. Thank you very much, ding. You're welcome. Yeah.
Jotted it down. I'm going to shove this down your throat now.
Yeah. So, I love cheering people on. I think the opportunities are endless. We all have, you don't have to have a college degree to be successful by any means, dude. Sure. And I love championing what you do. Trades, I did it. I went in the Navy, it came out, I worked in the trades for a long time until I shifted gears. But dude, I think that whole being in the trades and being service oriented kind of helped mold who and what I needed to be when I got into the industry that I'm, because ultimately I'm in the service industry.
Right.
I'm taking care of people. At the end of the day, I'm taking care of people, and I try to do it on the highest level possible.
Yep.
And that's really all it is, man.
I think everyone should kind of dip their foot into some service, like whether it's like a waiter or trades or anything like that.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
You learn so much from it.
Absolutely.
And like you said, you did a little bit of it with the Navy, and then dipping into some trades, and now you're not in that field. But those knowledge helped.
Dude, I have mad respect for anybody doing it, and there's a lot of kids that are coming out of high school and don't know what to do, and I'm always a big advocate for being an electrician, being a plumber, being in a trade, be a lineman, construction, whatever. Go through a school, go learn, pay your dues, do your journeyman stuff, do all that, get your accreditation or certifications, go be professional. And by the way, there's technology in all of it. It's not like the old days, you know what I mean? When I went through refrigeration school, it was pretty primitive still. Right. Now all the technology, you cannot be a ding dong and go think you're going to make it through schools. You got to have some sharpness to you.
Right. You're almost. You almost in trades now. It's not like you said. It's not as just hit stuff.
No, it's not. Get a hammer and let's baling wire or whatever. I don't know. The stereotype of trades is it's grossly it's doing people a big disservice.
We're not cavemen by no means. No. Some of us are, but I mean, like
some people are. Sporting a butt crack, but for, by and large, that stereotype is.
No, you know what? I know I'm finna get I'm going to get the Q, if you will. Not the Q in Fisher Q, but just the Q.
Yep.
I have a question for you. Okay. And if it's on air, it can't go away. That's the way I see it. Okay. It's forever. Two questions for you, actually. I have, because we moved you from your original date to come in and talk to us from July 25th. Can you come back July 25th?
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
So we don't even have to move that around. I'll keep you there. Yeah. Because this was entertaining. Like there's so many things that we can tap into.
Yeah, we could do this.
Here's the question that I asked, and I say that it's off the cusp, but at this point we're like 7 or 8 episodes, and I keep asking the same damn question. Okay. It's the only thing I'm good at. Okay. I have a face for the radio. I ask in the short form of it, right? Is there a moment in whether your business or personal or however much you want to share, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a moment in your life that was life changing? Like I said, whether business or personal.
Yes, in a way, yes. And we kind of touched on it. It was through coaching in the last 5 years where my coach helped define my purpose. Okay. So I'm a faith-based dude, and that aside, just my purpose, I think we all have a gift. Sure. You have a gift, dude. She has a gift. Right. Everybody has a gift. And I think that's our challenge in life. I think there's so much pollution, and I think there's so much deception in the world it's keeping us from finding our purpose. So I think my purpose when I was younger was kind of shallow, to be honest with you, and it was transactional, and it was very just surface, and then once I really dove deep and took a deep dive on who I was and what I was all about, and we touched on it, and that's, I'm an encourager, man. I'm a warrior by nature, but I have to have a dove in the corner to keep me peaceful. Otherwise, I'm just a gigantic a-hole. So I love a good fight, dude. I love nothing more than to go into battle with or without somebody. So I'm like you. So you did it in the ring for real. You fought. I'm just scrappy by nature. I love a good fight. I love confrontation and I like all that, but I've been able to temper it as I've gotten older because I'm no spring chicken. So my battles are very chosen. They're specific now, and so I love to champion people. So yeah, I would say in the last 5 years, I've definitely had a huge identification of who I am, what I'm all about, and you know what my purpose is. So I can't say it wasn't a specific day, like it was April 22nd of 2022, right. But it was definitely before 2020, and it was pretty eye-opening when I was like, oh wow, that's what, you know, we're here to give hope, and I'm here to encourage people and let them know, like, you know, there's a reason to be hopeful.
Okay.
That was long-winded.
I mean, that's fine. That's what we do here.
6-minute answer.
Between. I mean, it was roughly about. No, I mean that's good to know. I mean, like, there's someone out there needs to hear that for sure. You know, all thousands and thousands of our podcast listeners. One in Chicago. What's up, Chicago?
Yeah. What's up, Chi-Town?
Detroit, somewhere. I don't know where the fuck you're from. Just keep listening.
There you go.
I just kicked shit out of the trash can. Keep that in there. No, man, I appreciate you coming on, Kevin. This was it's cool to get to know someone a little bit deeper than the hour that we have normally.
Thank you for I appreciate it, man. Yeah. It's huge. Yeah,
appreciate it. Thank you. Is there any social media drops? I mean, Rebecca normally puts it in on the posts and stuff that you can drop.
I don't have off the top of the cusp of the head. I don't.
We'll get it. Right? We'll get it.
I can give you that on the side. Just make sure that my element NMLS numbers in there, 20871, and then LawsonHomeLoans.com is my website if you are curious. But yeah, I don't know my Instagram and stuff like that. Fine. Yeah, off the top.
We can figure it out. Anybody listening looking for a lender, this is a stand-up guy that I would say that I would definitely encourage people to have in their on their team.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. The same goes for you.
Thank you.
Anybody looking to get fired up, Jeff's your guy.
And don't let us light it up so your ass doesn't get lit up or something like that. Well, again, thank you for coming on the podcast, Wrestling with Entrepreneurship. I think I got this down now. We'll see what happens. But thank you for stepping in the ring. With Wrestling with Entrepreneurship.
I appreciate it. That's frosty. That's frosty.
We're getting it, man. That's fire. Until next episode, guys, we'll talk to you later. Bingo. Oh. No, I'm supposed to press stuff that I'm not supposed to. It's not like we lost fucking traction midway through or anything like that. When you leave, she's going to fucking hit me.
What? She's not. She's not going to attack you.
She's very fucking violent. She puts on a good demeanor.
She's put on a good face.